Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
grocery shopping nightmares in the USA's 10 most expensive states. Let's see.
Grocery bill creeping up like a cheap pair of boxers? Welcome to the club. Membership requires you surrender your sanity and probably the fancy cheese you love. Based on data gathered from August 18th to August 25th, 2024, the U.S. Census Bureau says the average American family of four is now dishing out about $275 per week on groceries. Yes, you heard that right. About $1,100 a month. At that rate, it feels like you're paying more for groceries than rent. So why the hefty price tag on your cheese whiz and potatoes? Well,
I mean, that's a family of four. I don't know. We're not a family of four, hard to say, but I would think that's okay amount.
Between 2019 and 2023, the cost of food at home shot up by about 25%. So why did it happen? Blame it on a mix of supply chain chaos and lockdown-fueled hoarding. During the pandemic, everyone started grabbing everything off the shelves and normally in bulk and began hoarding it. As demand skyrocketed and supply dwindled, prices looked not so friendly. So the pandemic's over and the supply chain problem is fixed. Why are prices still so high? Well, it turns out the people making profits off those high prices got a little addicted. They figured if we're paying it then, why lower the price? Today, we're looking at the 10 states where the average family pays the most for weekly groceries. You're gonna be surprised.
Oh,
Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look.
Louisiana.
Number 10.
That was not on my bucket list.
No.
What? Louisiana? Wow.
So which ones are you thinking it would be?
Well, I was thinking California,
California,
Florida,
New
Illinois,
York.
New York. Yeah. That's for maybe like DC.
Washington.
Well, yeah, DC, Washington State, then the areas around DC, so Virginia, Maryland, Colorado.
Maybe Illinois.
Well, I said Illinois already.
Well, I said some things and you were saying them too. I was like, okay.
Yeah, New Jersey. Louisiana, though? Wow.
In Louisiana. Groceries in Louisiana are hitting wallets hard. And it's not just a random twist of fate. A big part of the issue comes down to location. Louisiana imports a significant amount of its food from other states, which means transportation costs are always in the mix.
Yeah.
And with fuel prices doing their own...
Yeah, but it's kind of in the middle of the country, too, though, and like, it's not on the edge, so
On roller coaster impression, those added expenses keep getting passed right down to the shoppers. Add the fact that Louisiana's infrastructure, its roads, ports, all of that, face some wear and tear from frequent hurricanes and floods, on top of not really updating a lot of their infrastructure. Those roads don't get fixed for free, right?
Maybe, yeah, like the hurricanes, insurances are expensive, adds to the bills and everything.
Delays shipments that cost more fuel, they figure all that in. Another factor driving up the prices is Louisiana's agricultural output is heavily weighted towards certain crops, like sugarcane, rice, and soybeans, while relying on imports for much of its fresh produce and meats available in stores. This creates a dependency on out-of-state supply for a lot of everyday grocery items, which opens the door to price hikes. Louisiana's humid subtropical climate, while lovely for crawfish, isn't the easiest on perishable goods. The cost of keeping things fresh, especially in the sweltering summer months, requires more cold storage and rapid turnover, adding yet more reasons why your grocery bill might seem higher during the summer humidity. The average family in Louisiana pays $285.95 a week on groceries.
So I'm assuming that's the average family of four, because that's how we started the video. Texas.
Eating in or dining out.
Everything
Both
is
are
bigger
rewarding
in
with the American Express Gold
Texas.
Card. So are you in?
Number 9,
Texas is huge, so
if you notice your
transportation
grocery
costs
bill
too
in
as well.
Texas feels a little high, you're definitely not alone. A big reason behind Texas' high grocery costs is the sheer distance goods need to travel. So much of Texas's food supply is coming from out of state or even out of country. Transportation costs
Out of
are always a
country.
major factor. Texas might be blessed with oil, but fueling trucks hauling fresh produce from California or meats from the Midwest, that adds up, especially when gas prices spike. And with Texas' vast rural areas and big cities spread far
I
apart,
wonder
even
how
within
that
the state.
impacts like online businesses that ship goods. If those are also the same locations that are rather, instead of buying it from their store location, just ordering it online to be shipped to them.
How would that impact online businesses? And what's
No,
next?
'cause in a positive way, because online business that do ship like produce or to those locations, maybe the prices are more interesting for them since they don't have to purchase from the prices from their local market, because their local market could be quite high.
It's not a simple or cheap task for those shelves to be stocked. But it's not just geography that's squeezing your wallet at checkout. Texas has been experiencing a population boom, and demand for food has gone up as new residents flood.
That's an interesting point. They have been experiencing, a lot of people are moving to Texas because of low, supposedly, cost of living.
Yeah, but I think this is what makes it up.
But I think
Yeah,
now the cost
trade-off.
of living is rising, yeah.
The cities. More people eating means more groceries are needed, which drives up prices. On top of that, Texas faces its share of extreme weather events, from droughts to ice storms that disrupt the local agriculture and, of course, driving up costs of Texas-grown products. So next time you're at a store in Texas wondering why your grocery bill could fund a small road trip, just remember it's a mix of high demand, long distances, and Texas-sized challenges. The average Texas family pays about $288.19 a week on groceries.
New Mexico? What?
Number 8, New Mexico. Groceries in New Mexico have...
Okay, this list is not at all what I thought it was going to be so far. Like, I am very surprised by these places.
Gotten pricier for a mix of reasons, some of which are tied to its unique geography, like a lot of other states, especially in the West. For starters, New Mexico is pretty far from any major agricultural hubs and shipping ports. That's another thing they're a little short on. Which means transporting fresh produce and other perishable items
That makes
into the
sense.
state
Like, 'cause I
racked
could
up
imagine
transportation.
transporting like fish, because you have to keep it really cold. So they're like not even near like a water. They're like landlocked.
Desert.
Costs pretty quick. Of course, there's the higher fuel problems, just like every state faces, so the cost to get food on the shelves quickly adds up, and unfortunately, those expenses often trickle down to the consumer. Plus, the state's smaller population means less demand compared to states with bustling metropolis areas, so stores don't get the big bulk discounts that can help them keep the prices a little bit lower. Another reason for their sky-high grocery costs is drought and limited local agricultural output. It's a desert. They don't grow a lot there. Water scarcity has hit this state hard, and farmers struggle to maintain consistent crop yields. Add the rising costs of labor and packaging, and you've got a recipe for expensive grocery trips. So whether it's fresh avocados or a gallon of milk, New Mexicans end up shelling out a bit more just to fill the fridge. Now, they do grow some things, but they're not like California or Kansas or Nebraska. The average family in New Mexico pays $288.39 a week for groceries.
Texas. Florida.
Florida.
Expected it to be high.
Number 7, Florida. Florida, the land of sunshine and theme parks and apparently eyebrow-raising grocery bills. One reason Florida is paying a premium for their pasta and produce is logistics. You'd think with all that sunshine, fresh fruits and vegetables would be falling out of the sky, but Florida's position on a peninsula actually makes it a bit trickier to transport goods efficiently. Everything...
It would be interesting to compare within Florida too, like Miami, for example, versus I don't know, Panama City Beach, or something like that. I think there's significant differences.
has to come down those narrow traffic-laden highways battling both tourists and hurricanes to reach the shelves. And guess who foots the bill for that trek? That's right, your wallet. And then there's the we want to eat fresh all year situation. With Florida's bustling tourism industry, grocery stores need to keep themselves stocked year-round, which means importing items that might not be locally available. That premium on out-of-state produce and other high-demand items, combined with the extra cost from labor shortages and supply chain disruptions, keeps prices inflated. Florida, over the last few years, has chased a lot of their migrant workers out of the fields or out of the state, pretty much. This has cost its agricultural industry a little bit more just to get the stuff off the plant. So when you're picking up that $8 carton of strawberries in December, remember, you're paying for more than just the fruit. You're paying for the privilege of eating summer berries in a state that's decided winter isn't a thing. The average family in Florida pays $289.27 a week on groceries.
Washington.
Number 6, Washington. If you're living in Washington and wincing every time you check out at the grocery store, you're not imagining things.
What number
Groceries
are we at?
here are
6?
very expensive. Washington has some of the
I
highest
have Washington too. I'm not expected Washington. It's an expensive state,
transportation costs in the country.
Overall,
And all
an
those kale
expensive
bundles
state.
and organic peanut
But the
butter
only
jars
number
just
six,
don't roll down the
I would
I-5
think
on their own. The state's
higher
vast
is.
stretches of rural and remote areas make it pricier to get goods where
Well,
they
if
need
it's
to
gonna be
go.
a jump.
And let's not
I don't know about the jump, but I don't think higher because New York, California, Illinois, those three have to be there. Then I think our area around DC too. So I think it's about appropriately placed.
forget those.
I kind of personally thought Florida would be a little higher, but as I said, maybe the gap between like Miami and Ocala, for example, is significant. So where the average is okay.
Environmental regulations, while excellent for keeping the air clean and the salmon happy, it also adds a little extra to your grocery tab. Now, there's this love affair this state has with local, fresh, and organic everything. That's great for your health and the environment, but local and organic translate to let's add a few extra dollars on there. It's also not cheap to grow crops or raise livestock in a state that's known for
Masks required. I wonder how old this footage is.
drizzly weather. And when it comes to labor costs, Washington's minimum wage is one of the highest in the country. So while we're paying workers fairly, those wages show up in the price of your carrots and cherries. So why is it expensive in Washington? Well, they cave to a lot of different liberal-leaning ideologies. I believe in eco-friendly, but sometimes it goes a little too far. I believe in ethically sourced, too, and sometimes it might go a little far. The average family in Washington pays $289.67 a week
No
for
jumper.
groceries.
Mississippi.
You know what's kind of
Five.
interesting? Basically, most states are red. I really thought the list would kind of be like a bunch of Democratic states. But all of these states, except for Washington, are red states.
Mississippi. Why are groceries in Mississippi so pricey? You'd think with all that farmland and fresh produce being grown in-state, prices would be about as friendly as a chatty bartender. But no, turns out that getting all that farm fresh goodness from the field to shelf isn't as easy or as cheap as it sounds. A few of the biggest issues they have is infrastructure, rural communities are everywhere,
I think it doesn't
and
even matter
workforce.
if it's red or blue. I think it's just the geographic location and the infrastructure.
Well, Mississippi's in the middle of the country, though. Couldn't have a better location than that in terms of logistics.
Shortages. Then there's the added charm of a state where wages aren't exactly skyrocketing. With lower income levels and higher poverty rates, the cost of living and eating hit a little bit harder. Basically, the high grocery prices have decided to be an uninvited guest to Mississippi's financial party. Top that all
I
off.
thought there would be blue states because, blues have more regulations, the wages are higher. I would think all that would in turn, leads to higher prices. But I mean, we'll see the top. Maybe the top 4 is going to be all blue states. But yeah, I'm a
Along
little
with
surprised by
Mississippi's
this.
grocery tax, it's one of the highest in the country. Mississippi is only one of 13 states that actually tax grocery purchases, and they are the highest. Now, a lot of the states don't
Yeah, tax groceries. Nah, that's not good.
have a grocery tax or any kind of food tax, but in reality, they kind of do. They're just not imposing it on your purchase. The transportation companies, the gas taxes, things like that all add up. The average family in Mississippi pays $292.64
A little jump by
a
$3.
week for groceries.
Nevada. Yeah, what?
Number 4, Nevada. If you're scratching your head wondering why buying groceries in Nevada feels like you're trying to win
This
at a
is
high-stakes
also
poker
another
game, you're not
state
alone.
people like
Nevada's
to move to
unique
because they
geographic
say that it's a little bit more affordable. Like a lot of people leave California to go to Nevada.
setup means a lot of its food has to travel a long way to make it to the store shelves. Shipping companies have a field day charging extra for those long hauls, and
Yeah,
that
Nevada
gets
was quite
passed
huge.
right on to us. So you're not just buying a loaf of bread, you're funding
Yeah, but it's right next to California, though. California's a hub for imports from all the Asia,
an epic journey to your
Seafood.
pantry. On top of that, Nevada's really not some sprawling farmland feeding grocery stores. It's mostly casinos and desert. You know what grows out in deserts? Cactus. When was the last time you saw someone that had a plate full of cactus? The lack of local farming means that they're pretty much relying on other states for produce, meats, and of course dairy. So in essence, by the time groceries reach Nevada, they picked up a whole entourage of costs. It's almost like California, they call it the sunshine tax. It's the cost of living. act like it's a tax.
That's the
Nevada's
desert
got
tax?
the desert tax. You're paying extra because everything's so far out of the frickin' way. In Nevada, the average family of 4 spends $294.76 a week on groceries.
California, okay. So a second
Number
blue
3,
state.
California. You probably thought California was going to be number 1 because everything's
large state,
expensive
too.
in California. Not so much. People rarely talk about this because there's other conversations you can have about California, but California is one of the biggest farming states in the country.
Yeah,
That's the only
supposed to
reason
be a hub,
they're at number
too.
3.
That's
But-
why I'm surprised by Nevada, because California is right there. It's right next to the hub, so why is Nevada so expensive?
But even the hub is expensive at the hub.
It
What do you
does turn out
mean?
that California's high cost of living isn't just for housing. It's crept right into the aisles of your local supermarket. It's a perfect storm of factors to blame, starting with labor costs. Since California has one of the highest minimum wages in the country, you're effectively helping cover the
Yeah, that was my logic why I thought it would be mostly blue states. Because the minimum wages are high, you have to pay employees higher, the cost goes up.
premium for every organic apple and
doesn't
blue
seem to be the
muffin
case.
on those shelves. It's like you should get a little thank you every time you swipe your credit card that says, "Thank you for paying our employees a living wage." Now, I'm not talking bad about the living wage. I think it's necessary. Still sucks that it's got to raise the prices on everything. Of course, they also have to deal with the state's famously strict environmental regulations. Yes, those reusable bags and cage-free eggs come at a price, and the price is somehow always more than you planned on spending. Between droughts that make water-intensive crops costlier and transportation costs thanks to California's eco-friendly fuel standards, just about every avocado has a layer of green guilt tax baked into it. So the next time you're at the checkout wondering why your total looks more like your car payment, remember, you're not just buying groceries in California, you're buying into a lifestyle. The average family of 4 in California pays about $298.72 a week on groceries.
Alaska.
What's
Definitely
going on, people?
Alaska.
Jason here. and
Alaska
I'm
makes
partnered with
sense,
Disney
though,
to bring
like,
you up to
it's-
speed on Disney
It's
Plus.
very far
We
away.
forgot about
Disney
it. That's
Plus
how
with-
far away is it?
So number 1 is going to be Hawaii then, isn't it?
Not New York.
Number 2, Alaska. Alaska should be no surprise. We've talked about it at length, and everybody knows since it's so far away, a lot of things got to get shipped there, and shipping obviously is expensive. They also got people spread out all over the state, which adds even more to the transportation costs. Everything there is expensive except for salmon, and I guess moose and squirrel meat. On top of that, you got brutal winters, low population density, and supply chains that sound like they should come with a warning label. This is a state that only has about 1,400 miles of road, and
Would you
half the
live there?
time it's frozen. The average Alaskan family of 4 pays $329.71
Now
a
the
week on
jump. Now the
groceries.
jump. So number 1 is Hawaii.
All right, before we get to number 1, I thought I'd share these with you. These are the 5 cheapest grocery chains according to U.S. News. Food for Less, no frills warehouse style chain with locations in Illinois, Indiana, and California. Grocery Outlet, a chain with over 450 stores across 8 states. Winco Foods, now this is the one I go to all the time. They have 130 stores across 10 states. Of course, Walmart's everywhere. They have over 10,000
Walmart.
stores. And number 5 is Aldi, a discount
There you
grocery
go.
store that
Yes,
everyone says has
Aldi.
the best
Yes,
deals.
yes,
All right,
they
on to
do.
number 1.
Yes, they do.
Hawaii, man.
Hawaii. But I feel like Aldi has been going through it
And
the
number
time
1,
because I don't
Hawaii.
like what they have
Yep,
in
everything I
their
said about
stores.
Alaska is pretty much the same here, except the frozen roads part. Everything's got to be shipped that isn't a pineapple, macadamia nut, or seafood. They do have some of other things there, but not enough to really maintain the population. So they do have to have a lot of stuff shipped.
No, I am surprised by this list. Well, Hawaii is technically democratic, so I guess if you're being including, it's 3 Democratic, 7 Republican states. I really thought the list would be mostly Democratic states. I'm very, very surprised by this list.
And not because it
Yeah,
has nothing
to
to
the
do with
islands.
politics.
Groceries in
Why
Hawaii.
does the policies raise the prices? I really thought.
But then you would see if it's the policy, then you would see a reflection of that based on the list.
No,
But
that's
it's
what I'm
not.
saying. I was completely wrong. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't raise the prices as much as I thought it did.
Cost a small fortune because of this.
I really
We're talking
thought-
I feel
ships and
like
planes
this is
and
pretty much everywhere that's like on the edge. Like you didn't see anyone in the middle.
Mississippi, smack middle of the country.
Mississippi's like here. the lower bottom. It's like
It's
the crust. Nobody wants to deal with the crust. Okay.
Fuel costs are expensive and
You didn't
logistics
see
are
Indiana.
insane. You might buy a case of Campbell's soup, but it's probably
didn't
got
see-
Indiana is on the crust, on the northern crust.
It's a good chunk.
more
inside.
frequent flyer miles than the average YouTube travel channel. The average family spends
Kansas,
$336.88 on groceries a week in Hawaii.
Yancey, Ohio.
Unexpected list. I thought this list would be different. New York wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Illinois wasn't there.
Well, think about it. New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, they grow their stuff.
Yeah, they do.
I think what's important is if your state has space to actually grow
Yeah, you can
and
grow. It seems like
people
it, yeah.
to work those farms. It's agriculture will at the end of the day never go out of extinction. It will always be an important industry that surprisingly enough not too many people are in because they're all in tech. There's no one who's actually studying agriculture to understand how crops work. It's oversight by a lot of people in a lot of states. So
I agree.
in
Definitely.
Florida, our oranges are not even from Florida. They're from Brazil.
Florida.
They're from Brazil, okay? Make that make sense. It don't make sense.
Same way our oil we use is not even from the United States. We
Yeah,
import that shit,
you
even
know,
though we have oil.
you know, Haiti also has this issue too because it imports food instead of growing its own food. So what you see is that it's not an oversight of like, okay, what policy? It's just what's each state's focus. And I think everyone, they
this
overlook
was
the
different.
importance of agriculture. I'd rather be with a man who's a farmer
The
than a
farmer-
person who's doing tech. Okay? Because I know the farmer going to always have a job. Okay? Guys, as always, don't forget to like,
Don't be
comment, and
farmers,
subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.